Sometimes you just have to say what the hell and throw the switch. So, here with another episode of Uncontrolled Delusional Schizophrenia without paranoia. Well, maybe just a little paranoia. The Mayhem Behind the Mic broadcast crew, the BS Boys, are all set to bring you another episode of the Red Light District Junior Hockey Talk Show. Welcome to Felony Flats, where ducking is a way of life. Fine dining is a tin tray and paper cups. Knocking on the door consists of a battering ram, and the sound of police sirens permeates the air. Yep, it's that time. Here they are, the BS Boys.
And this reporter thinks it's about f***ing time.
Hey, here we are once again, slicing the darkness, venturing into Felony Flats. This is the Red Light District Junior Hockey Talk Show, and yes, we are the BS Boys, and we do apologize for that up front. Often accused, but never convicted of not knowing what we're talking about. We got a great show on tap tonight. We have Special Greg, kind of doing the engineer, well, now he's doing the vulture sign because he's throwing his arms up like I just paid him a compliment. Little does he realize it wasn't a compliment.
I'll take it as a compliment. I don't get too many of them during the week.
Well, that's true, but I did send you a Valentine's Day card. Did you get that?
I didn't know.
Okay, check later on.
I'll check.
You're going to like it. We got a great show on tap tonight. Jarrod Boman will be in the studio tonight. Actually, Jarrod is here now, but he's still in the restroom wiping the beads of sweat off his brow because this is big time. Big time radio.
Beads of sweat? Maybe that's just the rain because we're in Oregon.
It's not raining, man.
No.
It's kind of a nice day out. So I do smell the Febreze, though, wafting through the air. So we know Jarrod's getting up, primped and primed. Jarrod's been a long-time official of junior hockey, so it's going to be a great chance to ask an official a lot of questions and explain things to people that they may not know. Well, of course, us.
Yeah,
because we may not know. But it will give everybody a chance to call in. The line of BS, 971-258-2840. If you have any questions. We do know this is the internet, and this is sort of unrestricted.
Yes, it is.
Just use really small words, and try not to use big adjectives, like nasty adjectives.
Yeah.
Because then Greg will, man, you're sensitive.
Yeah, I am.
He's
paranoid, too.
So, we've got Jarrod Boman in the studio. That's going to be awesome. We will also be bringing in later on Johnny Too Late. AJ Reis will be on the phone to talk trades and, well, pretty much anything he wants to. I mean, this guy changes topics faster than a hummingbird on Quaaludes can change directions. This guy is the poster child for Ritalin. So it's always fun to have him on the air. Faster
than a hummingbird on Quaaludes changes directions.
Can change directions.
Great.
Yeah. Oh. You ever? Never mind. It's way over your head. All right. So before we actually get started, a couple things we do want to mention here. The Vipers Saturday game, which we will be calling on February 16th, is Veterans Appreciation Night. All active duty and veterans will be admitted free. The Vancouver Marine Corps League will be acting as color guard. So that's going to be kind of cool.
It's going to be fun. It'll be a good night. Hopefully they get a great turnout. And those aluminum jungles will be banging hard.
You mean the people stomping on the aluminum benches?
Exactly.
Okay, just trying to clarify that.
Yeah.
Real quick, I know it's kind of gone viral on YouTube. The Bakersfield Condors and the Las Vegas Wranglers game.
Oh my gosh!
They brought the Condor, the mascot, out onto the ice, and if you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it. It's kind of funny, but the guy that brings the bird out falls really hard on the ice. I mean, twice, and the bird I thought was going to actually get. It's not. It's funny, but it's not real funny. So apparently, he ended up like breaking a rib or something, or yeah. So if you get a chance, I want you to go watch that because it is actually kind of funny, and this is actually kind of what the announcers were saying about it.
Bravo, Baker, Arena, the Condors and the Wranglers meeting for the 7th time on the season. We're laughing, but we shouldn't be laughing.
We shouldn't be.
The Condor is out running around at center ice. The bird's going over to the Condors.
The Birdman was bringing the bird out to put him at the perch. Look at the Condors players are getting away from him. Look at him. There he goes up on the bench.
I love it.
Oh, my God.
This is the greatest.
Oh, my gosh.
The bird's going down.
He's down the tunnel. The bird's done. He's down the tunnel.
He's going to the locker room.
And that didn't exactly go as planned, but it's all good.
I'm glad you could get through the play-by-play of that.
Exit stage left for the bird.
The bird
at least he went down the right tunnel.
It almost took Matt Odette's head off.
Well, I was as he started to walk. It moves like a turkey.
Yes,
it's a big bird.
It has a swagger.
Yeah, and it's moving over towards the bench, and I could see the guys over there. They're kind of like, I'm not sure about this.
I don't think this is planned.
A couple of them were like moving out of the way. I mean, these are professional hockey players wearing gear from like head to toe.
It was hilarious, man. I mean, these guys were just cracking up, and to watch this condor, which is a huge bird, jump on like the half wall in front of the bench,
right?
And the players started scattering. It was,
and the guy's right. These are grown men running away from a bird, and they've got all this equipment on
in gear. Yeah, man, that was just crazy. Anyway, if you get a chance, go check it out on YouTube. It's actually pretty dang funny.
Yeah, and we've actually at the Eugene Generals hosting their final scout night this Saturday when the Generals take on West Sound Warriors at 7:35. All Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, and Brownies that attend the game in uniform will receive an immediate 50% discount on admission and will only pay $3. Every Scout in uniform will receive a free General Scout patch as well. A nice Scout patch from the Generals. Great gesture.
I wonder if that counts as anything, like the General patch.
Yeah.
Like, don't you have to cook and start a fire with wood and do all those, like, self-preservation things?
Well, and you're right. And you can't burn the sticks these days.
Yeah, so it's awfully nice. So they're giving them a patch.
Yeah.
That's awfully cool. So get out there and support the Generals.
Yeah, and after the game on Saturday, the Scouts are invited to stay and collect autographs from the Generals players and have the opportunity to join the Generals skating around. Skate rentals are $2, and the skate will end at about 10:45. Girl Scouts from around Lake County will be selling cookies in the lobby before, during, and probably after the game as well.
I try to... Yeah, I see the little kids like going into like Fred Meyer and stuff. I'll try to buy some cookies. I don't really have them come around my place knocking on the door anymore. So really support the kids. It goes for a good cause.
Yeah, I've already bought a few boxes and gave them away. I don't want to bring them home. I don't need the cookies. As much as I like my Thin Mints.
There's certain parts of your body that don't need the cookies too.
Yeah, and I've been doing a good job taking care of business recently in the past month and a half. Hey, NORPAC's Offensive Player of the Week, Christian Merritt with the Eugene Generals, scoring 5 goals and 2 assists in Eugene's split with Bellingham. On Friday night, Merritt scored 3 goals in the Generals' 4-5 loss. Then tallied 2 more goals on Saturday to go along with his pair of helpers to lead the Generals to a dramatic 7-6 road win against the Blazers. Merritt's efforts earned him 7 points, 5 goals, 2 apples in just 2 games since joining the team from Laconia. And that's in New Hampshire.
That's a long, yeah. That's a long way from home.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yes, Christian Merritt, good time to get back here. And Defensive Player of the Week, Kevin Duncan of the Bellingham Blazers. Congratulations. The L.A. native took a lot of pride in living up to his defensive responsibilities that showed over the weekend in the offensive slugfest with the Generals. Matched up against Eugene's top lines, Duncan managed to end the weekend with a plus-minus rating of +2. So congratulations to both of those players. Christian Merritt, offensive player, Keith Duncan, defensive player.
It's going to be a run, real close. I mean, getting down to the end of the regular season and getting ready to fire up the second half of the season. So, in Jarrod Boman's honor, got this for him.
Let's face it, we've all given a ref a piece of our mind on occasion. So how do the folks in Stripes handle the feedback?
You guys gonna keep it down too, eh? It's enough. I'm serious, buddy.
Everything going adequately? Very adequately, sir. I'm virtually bursting with adequatulence.
Hey, ref, you suck! Hey, ref, you suck! Hey, ref, you suck!
Easy! Easy, Rex, easy! Got it down on the whistle, boys. What did he do to you? Did he put a stick in you? I'll keep an eye on him.
Come on along, you're all invited to the coolest game.
Yeah, something that the officials may not get used to is getting a lot of cheer, but the old ref, you suck. Oh, Jarrod, that can't get old, can it? You hear that quite a bit?
No, sometimes I'm saying it.
Sometimes you're refs, you suck to yourself.
Sometimes
that'll work. Self-praise is good. Welcome to the show, man. That's awesome. Welcome.
I don't know if I'd call it self-praise.
Well, refs, you suck. I mean, that's God, I suck.
Hey, well, thanks for making it over here.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually made it through the metal detectors,
right?
The body probe.
Yes. X-ray scan.
Which was actually kind of enjoyable. Huh?
Okay.
Hey, refs, you suck. And then you have the UA, which instantly came back that, you are on something. You shouldn't drive to Felony Flats with Benadryl in your system.
Oh, too late.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Does the Rockstar count?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the Rockstar.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome to have you here. We've known each other for a long time, and if anybody wants to call and ask Jarrod questions, by all means, please do so. 971-258-2840 and ask your questions away. Let's kind of go back a little bit. Let's just kind of, how'd you get involved in officiating? And, as you go through the ranks, what's the difference between like youth, junior A, tier 3, major junior, and then CHL? I mean, it's got to be kind of like a player, right? I mean, you have steps and levels that you have to reach to move on. So how'd you get here? Why'd you get here?
I actually started officiating because when I was a trainer for the Pioneers back in the day, we got eliminated out of the Cascade Cup Championship, or finals, I should say. And I hardly ever yelled at referees. I was pretty good about it. Twice in 6 years of working as a trainer. Both times actually ended up getting penalized.
Nice.
So I earned my 4 minutes total. But we got eliminated, and I thought the game was awful. I definitely did not agree with the officiating, and I had finally snapped, and I let the guy know, and he actually, we were walking across the ice together, and just back and forth, and you're not very good, and you're a horrible trainer, and I don't know how you can be a horrible trainer, but whatever.
Both chirping at each other.
Yeah, and he held out his whistle, and he's like, "Well, if you think you can do it better, here you go." And my reply was, "Well, I can't be any worse, so maybe I will."
Do you remember who that was?
I don't know if I want to say.
You don't have to say his name, but
yeah, exactly.
Do you work with him now?
I worked with him for my first year, which was a little awkward. But and then he stopped officiating, and I've continued, and from the moment I put stripes on, I've never thought that I would enjoy it as much as I have, ever.
You look like you really enjoy it, though.
You do. I love it.
You called the game that we were calling Saturday, Vancouver, and I'm telling you, man, it's like you just really seem like you love being out there with the kids and the boys, just really skating hard, but it looks like you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Always smiling, always talking, always, I don't know what you're saying, but always talking. And that's got to be a huge, part of it too. You have to enjoy doing it. Otherwise, you got to be thick skinned.
Absolutely.
Because you're getting yelled at by everybody. So how is that to get used to? Getting yelled at?
No, I don't know. You just kind of compartmentalize some of that stuff. You try to remember it's not personal, and usually when it is personal is when everybody in the building has figured it out.
Yeah.
Everybody yells. I've yelled even as a player. I probably yelled way more than I should admit. But I always hated referees growing up. I hated them. I never thought they knew anything about hockey. I didn't think that they ever played. It was it's like if you can't play, then maybe you should coach, and if you can't coach, then I guess
you're
ref.
Yeah, join a men's league.
Yeah. So, but that was the big thing that when I first started officiating was it changed my opinion about everything. Everything with the game, and really truly hockey came full circle for me completely. Like all of the life lessons that you think you've learned from doing a team sport and being around teammates and coaches and And all of those lessons, you think you've learned them, and then finally when you're, in a position where you're holding other people accountable, and you're like I said, everything came full circle for me. Like I started understanding a lot more of this game. Not even just rules-wise, just more of the game.
So take a step back. Take us a step back. You decided that, when you were handed that whistle after that last game, that, okay, I'm going to pick these, put a shirt on, and start calling some games. But you don't just start calling games the next fall. There are steps and things that you have to do. What are those steps that you take?
There are, and I was kind of an anomaly because my first game that I ever worked as an official, I lined a NORPAC preseason game, which is kind of unheard of. Like, there's few people that have done that, and not that it's impossible to do, but and you know what? Even looking back, I would love to have the video of that game because I know I was god awful then. But usually what you do is, you work your way up, mites, squirts, just like when you're playing. You start at the time slots and you work your way up till you get to the evening slots. You get there early in the morning, you start doing the kids games, and you nail the mite game and then make it to the squirts, nail the squirt game, and you start getting up to peewees, bantams, and midgets, and then juniors.
But there's also classes you have to take probably as well.
Every year you're required to take a seminar or go to a USA Hockey seminar where you get your levels, and it's one per year. So you can do 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 is the highest, and 4 is the hardest. It's a skating test and the hardest rules test. There's only a handful of level 4s in the state of Oregon this year. So to give you an idea, but it's every year you have to go to at least get certified. Every 2 years we have rule change years. So even if it's not a huge dramatic rule change, there's always some kind of small tweaks that they do that you have to get certified on. And then of course there's camps going on everywhere. That's well, I shouldn't say everywhere, but there's usually on West Coast, East Coast, there's camps that happen that you can go to that you can pay extra for, but every year you have to go to a seminar. If you want to referee in USA Hockey and NORPAC and be legit, you have to go to. Yes.
Is that a USA Hockey class or okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that once you started out as a linesman?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there a class that you go, okay, no longer linesman, going to be the ref? How do you make that transition between linesman and actually wearing the stripes?
Well, in my opinion, if you want to be a really good linesman, especially if you want to make it to the higher levels, you should be refereeing. Even if it's not at that same level, if it's something lower, refereeing will definitely help you understand a linesman job a lot better. And vice versa. If you want to referee, you can you start off being a linesman, and really it boils down to the pressure that you have on yourself during the game, and your rule knowledge, really, your rule application knowledge. Anybody can put on that jersey and go out there and call the game. There might only be one referee during a game, but there's at least 50 or 60 referees out there
in the stands. Yeah. We've all been that. We've all done.
Well, that's like anyone can put a pair of headphones on and put a mic in front of them and call themselves a broadcaster.
No, they really can.
No, they can, because that's what we do.
Yeah,
and we're not.
No.
So we're proof that if anybody can fake it, it's us. You've got a little book. You've got this little, like, I'm going to call it a cheat sheet. Mm-hmm. That you showed us last week when we broadcasted, but nobody heard us. You showed it to us, and the writing's really small, but it's got is that like every rule out there that you can call, so you know that you're calling the right? What do you use?
It's all the highlights, and it's every. Well, I shouldn't say every, but majority of the referees, when you get to a higher level, have something like that, and usually they call it their riot pad. So they'll have, when something happens that's pretty big.
That's
awesome. See him pulling out a pad. Yeah. So they and some guys will put in just fighting specific stuff. Some guys will put in everything. I just put in everything because I look at it a lot more pregame and just doing a stretch, and I'll pull that thing out and look at it. Just a reminder. It's everything that's there, really.
Nice.
So every penalty, basically like I have it with like say fighting, and then I'll have all the options for just fighting, and then everything that goes down from there. Extra for cage or instigating or all your options. I mean, the worst thing you could possibly do is see a penalty, put a guy in the box, and then incorrectly call it. Whether you're calling a major or minor or double minor or whatever. I mean, you need to be specific about it. And if you err in it, your credibility not only goes down the tube, but that is the most frustrating phone call the next morning when your supervisor calls you and says, "Where in the rule book do you find that?"
That would be really a bad phone call to take.
Well, and usually that happens after he's had 3 or 4 people calling him saying, "Where in the rule book is this?"
Then he takes a look at the film.
And he takes a look at the film, and he, of course, looks in the rule book, or probably already knows it, and calls. And your answer is pretty much, I thought I saw it in there somewhere.
That's what I thought I saw. Well, last week, we actually sat around and we watched a bunch of clips, different, and kind of going through why this was called and how this was incorrectly called or this wasn't even called. There's a lot of stuff. You guys really legitimately have to have eyes in the back of your head. How do you, and this is a stupid question, but I get asked this all the time. I mean, how do you know where to look? I mean, the ice surface is huge. You got behind the play, you've got, the play, but how do you know where to look?
Well, and to be honest, that is, in my opinion, the bonus of making it higher up in the levels, because usually the higher up you go, the less spots that you really have to broaden your eyes. Like usually you have more specific places that you can look to find penalties, whereas the lower levels, the lower juniors, or even I mean, I did a Bantam game a month ago, and I was lost. I mean, there was kids falling down everywhere, getting hit everywhere. I mean, your eyes just get going everywhere, every place.
But parents saw it.
Oh, parents saw
it.
Sure.
Yeah, they saw it. You heard it.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough sometimes. I mean, a lot of that falls back to having been a player for so long and just knowing where everything's going to go, being able to transition with play, that kind of thing. I mean, there's a huge difference when you really the guys who have played at a high level as opposed to guys that have not played at a high level when you get up to the higher officiating levels. I mean, there's just more that you fall back on. Not that you can't do one or the other, but I think for a newer guy's sake, as opposed to a guy that's been seasoned, they'd probably fall back on their playing experience a lot more than somebody who's been there 100 times and they know exactly where to look, whether they were a player or not.
Well, you rely on your linesman too, as well, I would suspect.
Well, not when you're calling an everyday minor penalty, but I mean, if something happens, yeah, absolutely. Especially at fights. Fights is a big one that you're very trusting in a lot of situations when things happen. I mean, we had a couple of weekends ago, specific to NORPAC. We had a penalty called that was a linesman making the penalty where the referee was doing his job, which was not paying attention to the fight and dealing with crowd control. And that's a big thing as a referee when two guys start fighting. You're not every time do you get to stand back and watch. You have to deal with other things to start. And this particular referee was doing his job, and then it was brought to his attention from the linesman something that had happened. And then of course you watch the video, and it's just the linesman overreacting to a situation. But it's really, those are the tough ones that you get into when you're refereeing, because you're still, you want to have complete faith in your linesmen. And when they bring you something, we always say in seminars and coming up these, you don't say it, you don't say yes until it's 100%. You don't say, well, I've got a butt end, or I've got a kicking, or I've got a hair pulled, or a racial slur. You don't, those things don't get said unless it actually happens. So usually when somebody's bringing it to your attention, you want to just, oh, okay, well, sure, write it down. I got it.
When you have a lot of action going on like that, though, I've seen you pull out a book, too, and start writing things down. So you've got a pen or pencil and paper, and you're making notes of what's going on because there's a lot of stuff going on. We don't always see everything because we might be just focusing on one area, but you've got to be looking around at everything. And you're capturing other things happening outside of the fight, usually.
Usually it's just highlights. Like, that's the big thing that you try to get into people's heads is just pick the highlights. If you've got multiple fights going on, obviously the first fight is, say we have 2 fights, the first fight is the most important as far as making sure that those guys go to the box because they get just their fighting majors. So the penalties are different for that second fight. So the rules changed based on what happened, and then your actions go from there. You know what I mean? So if you have more than 2 fights, if you're talking a line brawl, then usually it's just trying to get the matchups. Like 12-2 from this team, and 24-5 on this team, and then also making sure that you're getting the first fight. That kind of thing. And then extra, like I said, highlights. If you've got anybody taking advantage of somebody on the ground, or you've got aggressors and instigators and stuff like that you've got to add on there, extra stuff, cages, fighting on a half cage, that kind of thing.
That's a lot to pay attention to. I was going through some tape just a couple days ago, and I was watching a replay of a Western States game, and this team iced the puck. They call it. Yet, before it was iced, the team that iced it went to the bench and had a line change. So you got a whole new group of guys coming out on the ice, and the ref was looking around trying to figure out who was on the ice when they iced it, and the announcer said, forget it. He's not going to bring anybody back off the bench because he had no clue who was on the ice. Simple little weird things like that. How do you keep track of who's on the ice?
Usually, and that's a tough one. That's because it's a referee and a linesman. It's the linesman trying to get in there to stop them.
Yeah.
So any numbers you can get, but if that becomes a constant thing, you can also fall back to penalties too. There are penalties for that. If they're doing it every single time. Oh, did I?
Yeah. If
you don't want to touch that.
If you heard the felony flat snork. That was Jarrod.
Yes, it was.
He was playing with his microphone. Hey, if you want to send us an email and ask Jarrod a question, you by all means can do so. bsboys@live.com, boys with a Z. Love to hear from you. We have one email from Kathy in Seattle, I think. I'm not really sure of her spelling. That's a bad question, Kathy. I don't know what. Do you guys actually use makeup calls? If you know that you blew a call, will you make one up to try to even it out?
You're going to put me on the spot on this.
Way to go, Kathy.
That's what the mic is for.
Yeah. So honestly, the best way, no, we don't have makeup calls. Absolutely not. It's because now you're getting yourself into a game it's not a legitimate game as far as I'm concerned. If I miss one, I will absolutely say, sorry, I missed one. But I'm not in the business to change my standard because I erred on a missed call. That's now you're talking about taking a game that down one street and turning it down another, and usually that other street it's not going to end well. It never does.
You hear it all the time. Oh, it's a makeup call. Oh, it's a makeup call. I agree with you. I don't see how a ref could use a makeup call and completely change the outlook of the game just to try to make up for a mistake. If you missed it.
You missed it.
You missed it.
Absolutely.
You're
and
not perfect.
What? There's plenty of guys that I've worked with, and plenty of guys that I know that it's very, very hard for them to say missed it. And that being said, it's gotten me into trouble sometimes because usually I'm the first one to say sorry, missed it. And part of that is what I feel I like to bring to the ice is a little bit of my own integrity, my own accountability. Is sorry, I missed it. It's not not that it's not that big a deal. So sorry, whatever. I try not to ever have to say that.
Yeah,
you know,
it's probably bad if you have to apologize.
Yeah, absolutely. And believe me, I can tell you how many times it's happened this season. It's not like it's happened quite a bit, but you definitely try to. When you do miss something, exactly like I said, just own up to it, and move on. If it's something that continually is brought back up, as far as well, you missed that last one, of course you're going to miss it. If things start changing, then you need to deal with it. But that's certainly a case by case basis. But
well, I know that reputation goes a long way too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're planning on going from NORPAC to the Dub,
mm-hmm.
and steps up.
Absolutely.
You don't want people coming back saying, "Oh, geez, man, this guy apologizes for everything he misses. He misses so much."
Yep.
And so no, that's probably a really good barometer. Don't apologize. I mean, don't miss it, and if you do, minimize it.
Yeah.
So, kind of talking about the junior A and then the Dub. You hear a lot of players say the difference between the levels of hockey is really how fast the play develops,
mm-hmm.
how fast the puck leaves the stick, how quick the shots are, how fast they actually skate. And we heard that from, with our kids, Bantam and, all the way, through midgets. Mm-hmm. It's speed. Mm-hmm. Is that the same with reffing when you go from, say, junior A to the Dub to, say, the CHL? Because you got to go to the CHL and lines a game, right?
I refereed
You
this
reffed
year.
a game.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
I've linesed in the Central League for the last 2 years.
Okay.
But this year I moved up to a referee slot.
How was that?
The most skating I've ever had in a game, bar none. I probably lost 6 pounds worth of water weight after that game. I mean, I was just skating my ass off, and I loved every second of it. I would never not do it again. I loved it. But the most communication that I've ever had to have during a game. You definitely need to be able to communicate. My deep thing that I truly believe is the big separator between guys that can ref juniors and can ref pro hockey is communication. And like I said, the most communication I've ever had, but to be honest, probably the easiest games I've ever done. I mean, like I said, it's you have your spots that you need to watch are very focused. Everything is more anticipated. You can kind of see things come in. It's a lot different. It's a lot different. I would take reffing a Central League game over reffing a Bantam game any day.
Central League 2 ref system?
Just one.
Just one. Wow. Yeah. With the speed, yeah. So you probably slept well that night as well.
Oh yeah.
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 Where was that game? Where'd you call that game?
I've done a set in Rapid City, South Dakota. So it was Rapid City versus Wichita. Yeah. That was fun.
Good time after all, yeah.
I had this trip in particular. I flew into Denver and had to drive from Denver to Rapid City, which is normally a 6-hour drive on a clear day. And I had booked my ticket to land at I think 11 o'clock, and so it was going to be tight. But then I got a call from the linesman the night before and said, "Hey, dude, there's a huge snowstorm that's coming in. You might."
Of course there is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it works.
So I had to change my flight to an earlier flight, totally different airline, totally separate ticket. Fly in, and I landed at 9, and we were out of there at like 9:30. And we walked in the building literally when people were kind of starting to, hey, where's the refs?
Oh, that's not pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it was, no warm up, just walk in, get your stuff on, and let's go. So that was the beginning of my very first referee spot.
Welcome to the CHL. Yowza.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think next time I probably fly out a little earlier, maybe the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if someone wants to get into reffing? Say from whatever the Northwest which is where we're at. How do they do that? What do they do?
I mean, I'm a little biased, but I completely suggest it, like on every level. Even if you just want to, learn some different things, like kids that are, and I don't want to make it a career. I just want to go ref a little bit and see what it's all about. Maybe read the rule book once.
Yeah.
Twice on a good day, yeah.
But no, everything. I mean, obviously, locally, we have our own local association, the Oregon Hockey Officials Association. So we have a website there. It's OregonHockeyOfficials.com. But everything you need is from USA Hockey, USAHockey.com, and that's got everything. There's a referee section. It tells you how to begin. where to begin. So even if you're not in Oregon, if you're in Washington, California, Idaho, Alaska, wherever, it's got all the local information for your associations and contacts and things like that. So you just go on usahockey.com. If you're registered as a coach or a player, then you already have your accounts, and then you can set it up and just move over to the referee slot. But I honestly, as much as I love it, my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner.
How old were you when you got into it?
26.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 26.
I'd love to see some of the kids that age out, say of junior hockey, to move into officiating.
Oh, there's plenty of kids that I've tried really hard to try to get them in there, and even talking to a kid tonight, Jason Reis. I mean he's finally getting into it. So he's getting his gear all together. And we talked about getting into NORPAC next year, and I mean I sincerely hope that he will go that avenue, because somebody with that kind of playing experience, like I said, when you're newer, you fall back more on that playing experience. So it's huge. I mean, it's just a lot easier for guys, and you get the experience from different angles, and even just life wise, everything came full circle with me. So I mean, it can't be that bad for anybody else.
It's the Boman teaching moment we always we were talking about.
Yeah,
it's a good opportunity to teach them.
Well, which is a good point to bring up. One of the things we talked about last week when we weren't broadcasting on the air was we see you talking, skating up to somebody and talking to them after a play, and they may have said something to you, or they may have done something that wasn't really a penalty, but you called it a teaching moment for the kids. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, you hope that anytime you have a teaching moment, it doesn't include 4-letter words. First off,
so we're not going to be teaching anyone
tonight,
ever,
ever.
Yeah. Ever
Don't worry about it, Steve. He was trying to count the letters.
No, I knew what the letters were. I was just trying to figure out.
You got to do the clap.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Ever again. One word.
Cut.
Okay, so go ahead.
Honestly, it's there's not very often that you get those, because usually you're calling a minor penalty on somebody. You don't need to talk about it. I mean, sometimes you need some helpful tips on the way to the box, maybe. So if you're close enough, you can kind of give your side, and they can give their side, and it's over. And if somebody gets it a little bit better, because sometimes there are you can call some penalties that they need to know exactly what, like, how is that a penalty, and it's it's like, hey, you get the stick around this side, and all you got to do is tap them on the hand. There's your holding penalty, guy. So hey, keep the stick there. That's fine. Move with them. Just don't touch them. It's just little things like that you're trying to coach them, I guess.
We've heard a lot of coaching from the penalty box.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot of coaching from the stands.
Right in front of us the last couple of weeks, right?
Oh, yeah, that was a hoot. But
I didn't hear that guy this last weekend. Was
how
he there?
could you not hear? No, he
wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
No, thank God, because
I was getting excited. But yeah,
I'm telling you, there are some people that just go way so overboard, it's not even funny. Yeah. Let's talk about your camp coming up. The Focus Officiating Camp, August 16th, 17th, 18th, here in Portland. Talk about that. What's going on with the officiating camp?
This is my baby. I'm putting absolutely everything I can into this, and not even for it's not for money. It's not for fame, if you can call it that. But I've got NHL guys that are coming in. I've got Central League guys that are coming in. Western League guys that are going to come in and instruct. And I mean, guys that there's going to be times where I'm in the back of the class, and if I'm not doing anything, I'm going to be listening. So it's going to be for me too. But I'm really excited for this. There is very, very little camps on the West Coast for guys to go to, and that's one of the things that I don't like as far as officiating, because there's plenty of really good referees around here that don't get seen, don't get the exposure that they need, don't get the help that they need to get better, to kind of fine tune their craft, so to speak. And this is my way of helping out with the sport and giving back a little bit. I've put a ton into it so far, and I'm not even close to halfway. I mean, just the amount of stuff that I've had to put into this thing to get the ball rolling, and it's finally started to take off. I mean, I've got the Facebook page up now. The website's being constructed as we speak. The graphic stuff is being done, and it's just it's amazing when you really want something and you're trying to get it going. The amount of things you've got to do to get it, especially the website. The website's killing me. All the stuff that I got to do for that, and just graphics and buttons and links and.
It's just a website. Just throw it up there.
Well, and see, I'm so nitpicky about everything. I'm way overboard.
Well, so what is the camp going to encompass?
The camp is everything, and as far as my take on it, it's kind of no holds barred, all inclusive. There's no subjects off the plate, and everything is available. I'm trying to think of everything that you could possibly get in 3 days as far as officiating, all in this camp. So I mean, I've got videos that I'm going to be producing and getting going. Videos on psychology of officiating, videos on communication. The communication one is actually the one that I'm most excited about. Like we talked a little bit last week, the verbal and nonverbal. And the nonverbal is huge. I mean, when I started getting into communication classes in school and started dealing with nonverbal, I mean, it was like a referee class. You talk nonverbal, and that's all that referee stuff. I mean, and everything that you can take from all of the communication aspect of it, and looking at a referee, even not if it's just yourself, just looking at a referee, you can almost kind of see where they're at as far as the game goes when you talk about that nonverbal stuff. I mean, nobody really realizes, your posture, your hand movements, your gestures, all that stuff. I mean,
how you show up for a game.
How you show up for a game, exactly.
How early you fly into a town to make it to a game on time.
Exactly. As long as you make it on time, I guess.
That's what you've got. Denny LaRue, coming to this thing, and this guy is like an icon in officiating.
Absolutely. I'm still amazed that I've clicked on that page and seen his face, and that he's in. He when I started refereeing, there was two guys that I immediately kind of gravitated to, and that was Denny LaRue and Reis Campanella. And I've actually had the pleasure of being on the ice with Reis Campanella, and that was incredible experience. I mean, the guy's amazing. He's smaller than I am, and he just dominated the NHL as far as the linesman goes.
That's awesome.
He was incredible. And you want to talk about somebody who has the epitome of communication.
That's yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not size.
Yeah.
It's like Shane Heyer.
No, he's huge.
The guy's massive.
Yeah.
The guy is just a beast.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's the way you present yourself and the way you communicate, whether it's verbal or nonverbal. Yeah.
And there's big guys too. I mean, I've met Shane and I've been on the ice with him, and he's an incredible communicator. Nothing to take away from him,
right,
but just when you're smaller, I mean, everything's different. Like, you go into a fight different, you go into a game different. Like, your mentality is a little bit different when you're smaller. I mean, it's I've definitely had to relate to it in that aspect of it, and of course Daniel LaRue. I mean, he's the best American referee that the NHL has, that refereeing has.
Yeah,
guy's incredible. And yeah, I mean, it's I've met him twice, and I wore his number 14 I did a college roller national championship deal a couple of years ago, and we had to wear numbers, and I wore 14, and that was for Daniel LaRue. Nice. And then that year was the first year that I met him, and of course I'm not going to tell him that, but yeah, I mean, he was my
he knows
my referee
now.
idol. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because Denny LaRue's listening. Yeah. I sent him an email and say, "Hey,
we're on.
Guess who's going to be here." One last question. I mean, you're more than willing. I mean, you can hang out all you want because the keg's tapped and back. How do you get your numbers? Like when they give you a number,
like for Western League?
Yeah. How do they do that?
Very few have gotten to pick theirs. Very few.
So they're
Usually
assigned.
Yeah, they just this number's open. You're going to get this one.
So they have no meaning.
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, there's a few that are like 11. Lots of guys try to get 11 because it's kind of goes with the jersey. Brian Fortin, remember Fortin?
Oh yeah, 40. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I mean his number was 40. I mean that was his nickname. I mean it's.
Oh wow.
So he's probably got the most. How can you say that? Relatable number to his name and his his situation is 40. Fortin and 40. So he's probably got the best one.
And there's 3-digit numbers.
Oh yeah, I'm 116.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
I don't know.
Like, look, it's 11, but let's add a 6.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
How high do they go?
Actually, I think there's a 130. I think there's a 136. I mean, not that we have that many guys. I think it's just like numbers that are available. Guys will change, rotate each year, and you don't rotate numbers, but one guy will retire, and then somebody else has already had that number. And
So it's not like a badge number in law enforcement, where your number dictates when you got your BPSST card.
For a while there, when they first went into the hundreds, it was kind of the guys that were in the hundreds were kind of the newer guys.
Yeah, okay.
So for a while there, it kind of was, but now it doesn't really. I mean, there's newer guys that are getting lower numbers than hundreds.
Oh, that's cool.
So for a period of time, it did kind of.
We're going to take a break. We're going to give everybody a chance to, if you want to send an email in, we got to start covering some of the league stuff going around. But I don't know. Jarrod might want to stick around. And,
stick around. It'd be great to have you.
Play broadcaster.
Yeah, and plus we should have a guest, as we mentioned.
Yeah, we will eventually get him on the phone. But until then, we're just going to go ahead and start playing a little bit of music, take a break, go tap the keg, and we'll be back in just a few minutes, folks. This is the Red Light District Junior Hockey Talk Show.
This is so nice. No kids.
No Jace.
No Sa.
Thank the Lord, no Sa.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Love you.
Love you.
Sir, my lady, are we ready to order?
Just 13 days until Season 3. Duck Dynasty. New season premieres Wednesday, February 27th at 10 on A&E.
Oh, yeah, right there. That's a little shameless plug because, well, we love Duck Dynasty.
Yes, we do.
You really love Duck Dynasty. You are, like, all over that.
Hey, Jack, you got that right.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Sad.
Yes.
Got to get a life. Yeah, anyway, Duck Dynasty's
Si.
Uncle Si, yeah. Real quick.
Yes.
NORPAC.
NORPAC.
Yeah, we got NORPAC stuff going on.
Hey, we do.
It was kind of a big weekend, especially for Eugene and Bellingham. They actually swapped wins. Bellingham won 5-4 on Friday, and then Bellingham lost 7-6 in just like pretty much a major shootout. Are you going to talk to me or play text messaging?
Both.
And that was
I'm right
Jarrod
there with
playing
you.
with the mic again. I've done that so many times, it's not even funny. You forget it's there, and then you move your... What do I do with my hands?
The car.
I don't know.
Car ran real good.
Car ran real good. What do I do with my hands? So, yeah, Bellingham and Eugene split because that's so important. Bellingham right now is behind Eugene, trying to pick up second place. I don't think they're going to have time to do it, though. I think they're kind of running out of games. Then we had just a major blowout. West Sound hosting Vancouver 17-2 back on February 8th, Friday night. That was just an absolute melee. It's like every time they put the puck in the net, it went in the net. 17 goals is a lot. Okay, I'll just keep talking. Are you going to talk?
Yeah, I'm going to talk. Every time they put the puck in the net, it went in the net. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. He's completely out of it.
Well, there was a lot of fights in that game too. I mean, second period, it was just absolute mayhem. They totaled out 222 penalty minutes that night.
Oh, I'm watching this right now.
Yeah.
Well, we have Jarrod. Jarrod was at. You were at the game, right? Were you working that game?
No, I was not at the game. That was.
Did you review the game?
Yeah, I reviewed it.
You must have with that many penalties.
One, you know what? I will, if he's listening, highly doubt it, but if he is, I will throw a fantastic shout out to Kyle Krogstad, the guy that refereed that game. And there are so many random things that happen in that one sequence, in that line brawl.
Yeah.
And like we talked about earlier, having... your own agenda as a referee and things to look at for here and there and what for. Nailed it.
Nice.
Guy absolutely nailed it.
That has got to be one of the most confusing things to try to organize.
Well,
line
and
brawl.
the only thing, there's two things that that were not great with that whole thing is that it took a really long time to sort it out. But if you're taking that much time to sort it out, you better get it right. And he nailed it.
Yeah, that was just an insane game. We ended up watching it. And, I mean, really, it was one of those games that your heart went out to Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nothing they could do could be right. It was just brutal. But I will say they came back on Saturday. They did lose 7-1, which was a game you called.
Mm-hmm.
And they put a much better effort up on Saturday night. And putting that behind you, and playing the game at hand.
Coming back to, I mean, if I could wear a mic and people could hear some of the things that I talk about with those guys, and I talked to Carter after first period, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first period, and just pulled him aside when we were all done and said, you know what, this is it really hurts me to put my hand in the air. Let alone put my hand in the air as many times as I've had to do it so far. Can you please have a chat with somebody about not taking so many really silly penalties?
That's what you told him?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, dude.
It's a Boman teaching moment.
Well, and that's something that assistant coach George Larkin talked to us about before the game, is that they want to keep the penalties to a minimum. They had 2 lines that game.
Mm-hmm.
2 lines, and their top scorers were standing up to our right, watching the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really painful when you see all the talent that they could have on the ice up in the mezzanine watching.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be painful. So not a lot of games. We had 4 games last weekend. Right now, the way the standings sit, West Sound has clinched the division title. They currently have 56 points. Eugene in second, 43 points. Bellingham has 38. Glacier has 30. Tri-Cities has 30. Vancouver has 4. Now, the Glacier Tri-City, that's going to take a really interesting turn.
Yeah, it is.
With both teams having 30. Now, it's sort of a misnomer because it looks like they're tied, but they're not.
No.
The points from the A-Dub, which Glacier plays half the season in, actually comes to NORPAC. And right now, they would have 35, so they would have 4th place away from Tri-Cities. So these next few games for Tri-Cities, which is against Vancouver this weekend, are going to be huge for Tri-City. Right now, just throwing it out there, Vancouver, the best they can do is be a stumbling block. Just being a stumbling block for teams trying to get into the 4th and final playoff position.
Well, they're going to have to dig deep just to do that as well.
Oh, yeah, they will. They will. We have West Sound at Eugene, which is going to be a great matchup Friday down in Eugene. Vancouver goes to Tri-Cities on Friday as well. Game time 6:30 up there in the Tri-Cities. West Sound Eugene once again Saturday, February 16th. Drop of the puck. 7:35 puck drop. I can say that. Down there in Eugene. And then Tri-Cities comes to Vancouver. We will be calling that game on Saturday, February 16th, 7:35 puck drop. We're going on the air about 7:15. If you really have nothing better to do Saturday night, you might as well tap into us.
FastHockey.com.
We're out there. Yeah, because not only do we entertain, but we lower your hockey IQ every single game.
Yes, we do.
And we take great pride in that. NORPAC only has 40 games, that's not very many. So really, the playoff run has begun. A lot of these teams need to make up points. West Sound only has 6 games left. Eugene has 5. Bellingham has 4. Glacier, well, they're done in NORPAC. The highest they can tap out is 35 points. Tri-City has 6, and Vancouver has 5 games left.
2 of which are their home games. The rest, Vancouver will be playing away.
Yeah, we only have 2 home games left to call. One Saturday, and I believe the following week is Saturday as well. Are you going to be doing any of those games?
I have Saturday's game, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here in Vancouver? Yeah, we're back
Vancouver,
again.
yeah.
There you go. That'll be fun. Vancouver was tough, man. That was a tough year for them. Really tough.
It was a tough year, and we've said it many times since the beginning of the season. It was a rough start. They only had a couple weeks to put the team together. Kudos to Bob and Keith and Chuck for taking the team on and not letting it fold.
Yeah, it was a good thing that they stepped up. Otherwise, it would have been going away very quickly. Glacier did beat Great Falls last Saturday, and that's where they get the 5 transferable points. So that's going to be the big ball buster for Tri-City right now, is trying to make up those invisible points. And I think they have the talent to do it. Do they have time to do it? I don't know. We're about to find out as Vancouver and Tri lock horns this weekend. Over in the A-Dub.
Yes.
That's got so many teams. We're going to try to condense this as much as possible. Helena did win the division, A-Dub. Okay, so that's pretty much done. Helena and Yellowstone have qualified for the playoffs over in the A-Dub. Helena's got 77 points. They ended up taking a hit this weekend. They ended up losing, actually, to Yellowstone 3-2. All 5 goals in that game came on power play.
Wow.
All 5 of them. So
there's a lesson there.
What's that?
Don't take any penalties.
That's the lesson?
Yes.
Well, that's a good lesson.
I like that one.
Yeah. I was waiting for some type of like smart-ass comment, but he actually came up with a legitimate lesson. I don't know what to say now.
Yeah, right.
I'm completely speechless. Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, don't take penalties. All 5 goals on power plays.
Wow.
Wow. So yeah, Helena did take the hit. They are right now 38-2-1 for 77 points. Yellowstone not far behind. They've got 42 games in, 30 wins, 10 losses, 2 overtime losses for 62 points. Gillette, who actually is playing very well this year, very impressed with Gillette. 40 games, 25, 12, and 3, 53 points. Missoula, who really typically gives Helena fits. They played last night, Helena and Missoula, and Helena kind of walked away with it late in the game because it was really back and forth. It was tied there for a while, and maybe AJ. Well, depending on what AJ's doing, I'm not really sure where he's at. But we're trying to get a hold of AJ here in just a bit. Billings, 39 games in, 18, 26, 3-2, 41 points. Great Falls has 26 points. Glacier, they got the 5. That's transferable to NORPAC as they will be involved in the NORPAC playoffs. Bozeman, 1-40, 2 points.
Another team that's having a tough year, right?
Tough year, and they were actually going to go away, and the A-Dub actually saved them. So just the fact that Bozeman is playing is a huge hats off to that organization, which is awesome. Very huge games. Glacier and Bozeman play this weekend in Glacier.
So that could really help Glacier stay ahead of Tri-Cities there.
Yeah, they're playing a team that's won 1 game, so Glacier has a chance to really pick up 4 huge points to step away from Tri-Cities in NORPAC. Tri-City and Vancouver again play. Will Vancouver put up a stumbling block? Who knows, but they certainly could if they bring 60 minutes of hockey. So that's going to be the battle to watch, really. It's sort of the middle of the pack. Helena, Yellowstone, Gillette, Missoula, they're all going to be – they're close. Billings is 41. Missoula is 48. So that could swap, but they're really going to have to pull solid games together there. Missoula at Gillette Friday and Saturday. Billings at Helena Friday the 15th. Helena at Billings Saturday the 16th. So Helena at home Friday. Helena on the road Saturday against Billings. Great Falls and Yellowstone play Friday, Saturday. Bozeman Glacier Friday, Saturday as well. Then Gillette and Billings play Sunday, the 17th.
The Sunday game, 7:30 p.m.
They don't play a lot of Sunday games. No. That's what they do a lot in the Western states. They play a ton of Sunday games because of the travel schedule.
It gives them a little bit, more bang for their buck when they're sticking around one more day for one more game, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah, I mean, bang for the buck, and it's really expensive to move these teams around, so they do play a lot of 3-game sets. So they make the most of their travel time. Helena does not do that as much. In fact, rarely do they play the same team on weekends.
Why is that?
Maybe we could ask AJ.
I'll make a note of that.
You're going to make a note of it?
Yes.
Make a note of that, will you? So A-Dub, they got a lot of games going on, and there's going to be a lot of shifting in the standings here coming the next few weeks. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch as well. Helena did beat Missoula last night, which is nice for Helena. Trying to extend the lead,
5-2.
Just sitting here watching what. Okay, Western States
League. We've got
Jarrod's over here on the computer. I'm not sure what he's watching. I'm sure it has something to do with the referee. Though.
Yeah.
You're sitting here texting.
I can make it sound like it does.
Could you?
Well, I'm making sure that our Johnny Too Bad is
Johnny Too.
Johnny Too.
It's not even the right name.
No, it's not. But I like Johnny Too Bad.
How about Too Late?
He's never late. He's always on time.
Okay. Let's go through the Western States
Western
stuff.
States League. We've got Idaho Junior Steelheads leading that. They've got 37 games in, and another good season for them. 35 wins, 1 loss, 1 overtime loss for a total of 71 points. They've clinched the division title.
They have.
And they get the bye because
they clinched it a long time ago.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And they get the bye. They're hosting the championship up there.
Yep, automatic bid. Yep. Not a buy, but a bid.
A bid, yep. Southern Oregon Spartans, they came in and moved up to second place in the division with 21 wins, 15 losses, 1 overtime loss for a total of 43 points. And right on their heels is the Ogden Mustangs. Our buddy John calling those games out there. 16 wins of 16 losses, 1 overtime loss, and they have 5 shootout losses.
He does a great job.
He does.
John McBride.
Yeah.
He does a really good job with that team in the broadcast.
Yeah, and we'll probably have him on again, either if they, depending on how far the playoffs go, and probably after the season. They've got a total of 38 points. And then you've got the Seattle Totems, who 37 games in. They've got 10 wins, 20 losses, 2 overtime losses, and 5 shootout losses for a total of 27 points. And I think most of those shootout losses, if not all of them, are from Southern Oregon.
I think there's like 3 or 4, and then the other ones are, I believe, are against Salt Lake.
Salt Lake, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have a little bit of news for them coming up here shortly too. And then Salt Lake bringing up the rear there with 10 wins, 22 losses, 1 overtime loss, and 3 shootout losses for 24 points.
It's in really small font, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's really tiny typing.
It is. And they're only 3 points behind Seattle at this point, so they can catch Seattle.
Well, they had, going back to 2 weeks, Salt Lake was actually in Seattle playing a 3-game set, and Salt Lake took 2 out of the 3 games. So Seattle didn't do themselves a whole lot of favors by losing 2 games to Salt Lake at home.
No, you're letting the
5
team
points.
that's chasing you get all those points.
They had 5 points that Salt Lake walked away with that brought them within 3 of the Totems. And last weekend, there was only one game set going on, and that was Salt Lake at Southern. And so Salt Lake stayed in Seattle, actually, the weekend prior. Took the long bus ride down to Medford. And that was a great chance for Salt Lake to even pick up more points to either catch or pass Seattle. And Southern kind of said, nope.
Not in my house.
Nope. They ended up sweeping the Moose 3-0, but it really wasn't like Salt Lake didn't compete. Salt Lake played a great 3-game set, and Southern just brought it a little bit more.
Yeah, I watched 2 of them. Friday and Sunday's game, most of Fridays, a good portion of Sundays, and they were very good games to watch.
They were a lot of fun. Southern won 4-3 in a shootout, which seems to be the mode of operation in Southern a lot of times. They have had a lot of shootouts this year, haven't lost one yet, though. And Southern outshot Salt Lake 44-20 and ended up winning 4-3. It was tied 3-3 after being outshot 44-20. So Burkett actually, Alex Burkett played a solid game in net for Salt Lake. And Max Richter started the game, ended up getting pulled after Salt Lake made it 2-0. And sometimes, we've had discussions with a lot of people about this, and it would have been so good to kind of leave Max in there, I think, maybe a little bit longer to kind of build that confidence back up. But right after that second goal went in, I mean, he was gone.
Well,
they pulled him.
You saw that goal, and
I did.
It was a kind of an odd goal and how
it was weird, man. I mean, Richter went behind the net, lost an edge, and the puck came around the boards right after a Salt Lake City Moose, and he put it in an open net. It's not like it happens often, but it's really tough. And so anyway, Max got pulled, and it was 2-0 at that point. And then Seattle Southern actually came back, ended up tying it, then going ahead 3-2, and then Salt Lake tied it late in the third, going 3-3, and then a shootout. So Salt Lake going down in the shootout. In game 2, Southern won 6-5 in just an insane back and forth game. Goals being scored all over the place in that game.
Yeah, and kudos to the coach for giving Richter another shot.
Absolutely, they gave Richter the start, and Max played very well and got his head in the game, and he was so excited after the game, and it was so great to see. And Southern takes the win 6-5. Game 3, Southern wins 4-2, and that completes the sweep. So Salt Lake didn't make up any ground on Seattle down in Southern, but they can actually make up ground because they have 10 games left. Seattle has 9. Southern has 9. Ogden has 8. Southern and Ogden, that's going to be the battle to watch.
Yeah, well, it's going to be great to watch. I'm looking forward to watching those games. As we've mentioned, we've only got 2 more home games to call, so we will be spending a lot of time in front of our computers on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday games.
Well, more than that, it's the points available and who has the easier schedule. And, a lot of people are saying right now Ogden has the tougher schedule. And so Ogden having 8 games left, 16 points available. Spartans have 9, 18 points available. It's going to come down to the wire. And the second place team is huge because of they only have to win 1 playoff round, and they get to go to the Thorn Cup Championship.
Yeah.
Because the second place team in this division, since Idaho is the host, gets to go to the Thorn Cup. So second place is huge, and home ice advantage going to Southern. If Ogden has to go to Southern, that's going to be massive.
That's going to be, that's going to be massive.
It's going to be
big, fun, and exciting to watch, and great way to end the season.
You're just full of infinite wisdom.
Yes, I am. Definitely more than 4-letter words, those two.
I don't know.
Because you can't count?
No, I'm just sitting here trying to get pieces of information, and all you're doing is like fluff and buff. There's not
fluff and buff, baby.
There's not a lot of stuff there. Not a lot of meat.
Hey, try fluff and stuff.
Give me something I don't know.
Something you don't know.
No?
No.
Okay. So we do have quite a schedule coming up this weekend. Seattle is actually over in Idaho for a 3-game set. That's going to be a tough place to play for Seattle. So if Seattle's looking to get points out of Idaho, they're going to have to bring a full-on 3-game set, 60 minutes a game. Don't take stupid penalties. Go toe-to-toe speed-wise. And you damn well better have good goaltending.
Don't take bad penalties. Yeah.
Okay, there's that infinite wisdom I was talking about.
Yeah.
Jarrod, do something about him, will you?
There is no bad penalties.
Different perspective, Steve.
That was Jarrod. If you that wasn't Greg.
Is there a delay? Can you erase that?
I can.
Yeah, but that would be on YouTube.
Commercial.
Put a cork in it. We're done. Yeah. So Seattle's over in Idaho. Ogden, boy, oh boy, they're actually hosting the Cheyenne Stampede. That's a possible right there.
Yeah.
Ogden could take that series right there. Fresno's going to Southern Oregon. That's going to be a tough one. The problem with Fresno is they lost their top line to the NA
team.
Yeah. So Fresno's having a little bit of a kind of an up and down session here for the last couple weeks, but I don't know. Southern, again, they're going to have to take advantage of a down team, and if they can sweep 6 points out of the weekend, they will certainly do themselves a huge Jarrod, a huge favor. Salt Lake actually has the New Mexico Renegades in town. Mike Stanaway.
We had him on 4 weeks ago.
Yep. So Stanaway is bringing the boys up to Salt Lake, and so that's going to be a huge game as well, trying to catch Seattle. So this weekend has huge implications, very huge implications as far as playoff positioning, 2nd, 3rd, 4th place. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Picking up those points, those boys are going to have to come in focused and ready to play.
They are. So I'm going to be really, really intent on the Southern Series with Fresno. I'm going to certainly want to watch what Ogden and Cheyenne do The Idaho, Seattle. It's going to be interesting to see how close Seattle can make it.
Or keep it.
Keep it.
Yeah.
That's going to be the key. Stay with Idaho late, and you might get lucky, might get a couple pops in, and see what happens. But that's playing in Idaho against a very solid team. That's going to be a little difficult to do.
Right. And look what happened. I believe it was a Sunday game that Southern Oregon played them. Southern Oregon was up, I believe, 3-0 heading into the third, and Idaho just came back and just lit it up.
Yeah, that was crazy to watch Idaho come back. They are a very solid team, but that weekend actually provided 1 point for Southern back a couple weeks ago to actually take 1 point lead over Ogden.
Yeah.
So they're going to go back and forth right now. So we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're going to try to get AJ Reis on the line and talk trades to wrap this episode up. You are listening to the Red Light District Junior Hockey Talk Show. We are the BS Boys. We're going to be back in just a little bit. Not really sure what we're going to do after that, but hey, you know what? You never know.
Artificially flavored with imitation talent, here they are once again, the BS Boys.
I love that.
What's that?
Just the little, breakouts, the little bumpers and artificial talent, and that's dead on. That's so smack on.
That's so us.
We have no talent whatsoever.
Well,
we just like to push buttons and talk into microphones.
Well, the LEDs are pretty cool too.
Well, I got them all. They're all in front of me. What do you have?
Well, before you get here, when I set everything up, that's when
you turn the lights off.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the bouncing cornstarch? If you put it on a bass speaker and watch what it does?
No.
Really?
No.
It solidifies and bounces, and then when you turn it off, it goes back to liquid.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm not going to try it.
Under the right, situation, it's really awesome.
I think that's the key right there, right? Under the right situation.
Yeah. Speaking of the right situation, we actually have on the line right now. We got AJ Reis. AJ, you there?
I am here.
Nice.
Nice.
How long have you been there? Have you been eavesdropping on us?
Laughing my ass off. I'm starting to think that maybe I should have a bumper sticker or something that says, I was on the line of BS, and believe me, I didn't inhale. Something like that. Bowman's going to get a dope test leaving that place.
We've already made the call.
Going to.
He was. It was coming in, not going out.
That doesn't mean test it. That means look out.
Yeah.
He was tested. Yeah, we know. We know everything's good. How are you, my friend?
Excellent. Yourself?
We're doing well, man.
Good.
This has been a blast tonight. We have. It's rare we have an in-studio guest, and so not only do we have to have knowledge, but we have to entertain, with like hors d'oeuvres and nice little foo-foo cups and stuff like that.
And a great guest. Forget talking about all the rest of this crap. I mean, I'm kind of like the sticky note geek. I got sticky notes plastered on my forehead of things I want to talk to Jarrod about.
Okay,
bring it on.
Let it go, man. I mean. He's done with the Smartie tray. He ate all the candy.
Yeah, there was a spread.
It was a spread.
I'm full.
There's nothing better than a hammer to Smarties.
That's the leftover Halloween candy you gave him. Come on.
Yeah, we had to open it up to make sure it was safe. No, the Smarties. Have you ever just hammered them and just turned them into powder?
No.
No. Well,
let's see. Baking powder, Smarties with a hammer,
Tang through a straw. Tang's awesome.
Imagine me on all that sugar. Not good.
No, you still on Ritalin? If not, you should consider getting back on it.
Something. Anything.
Yeah. I'll try anything once. What's that expiration date mean? It means don't take it, AJ.
It's just recommended. It's not required.
That means take 2.
It's sort of like the black on yellow speed limit signs. It's recommended, not mandated.
Not mandated, right.
There you go.
A 50-mile-an-hour corner at 80? Sure. We've got some trade stuff going on. It's all wrapped up. It's all done. And so talk to us a little bit about that. Who, in your opinion, do you think really increased their roster and who might have lost some talent? What's going on there?
The question that never really gets answered for about a month is who really did well on what they did. Obviously you've got buyers and sellers, and in our league there wasn't as much movement in the past, and I attribute a lot of that due to generally the movement that you'll see. It'll be the lower teams that aren't going to make the playoffs. They'll push 20-year-olds up.
Yep.
To teams that are in contention, and there's really not a lot of 20-year-olds period in the league, and as there aren't in NORPAC either.
Do you think it's a younger year? Do you think it's a younger year in, say, the A-Dub and the NORPAC possibly than in years past? Not as many teams carrying 20. Well, you guys don't carry that many anyway, do you?
Well, I mean, we do and we don't. It depends on what you're looking at. I mean, generally we're 7 to 9.
Okay.
Somewhere in there, and I mean, this year we're at 7. But when you look around the league, the only team that's really top heavy in 20-year-olds is Gillette, and Gillette has 12. And Gillette that's kind of been, they've built that team that way all year long. They've always been a little top heavy that way, but it's a good solid group, and that's one thing about them. If you've got the right group of 20-year-olds, not the bad group of 20-year-olds that are in the game for the wrong reasons, if you can rally those guys up, you really got something. But I mean, when you look at Yellowstone only has 2. Great Falls has none, which is a great move for them. That team's built to come back. So, and even in NORPAC, I mean, the numbers are pretty low. I think Eugene probably runs away with it at 8.
Is that what the final number was? I thought it was 7 or 8 for Eugene. How do you, from your perspective, how do you think Eugene did with the ad drops?
I think they did. I think they did real well, especially with Christian Merritt. Christian Merritt can play all day long.
Yeah.
The rest of them, we'll have to see. I think they obviously got better. How much better? It's on Smitty now to get those guys to buy into what he's selling, and I think he can do that. I watched their game this last weekend. Went up to Bellingham and watched those guys play a game, and they played a pretty good game.
That was the split. Yeah. How was who was in net on Friday up there for them? Do you remember?
I don't.
What?
What? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to waste time to pull up the game sheet now, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do.
No, it wasn't. But I don't think it was. He's got the weird, not the kid with the weird name.
Avery?
Yeah, Mir Turan.
Mir Turan.
Yeah, whatever
Mir
that
Turan.
is.
Yeah. Because they picked up 2 tenders actually, and I wasn't sure. I really didn't watch them, to be honest, but I wasn't sure if one of those guys got the nod Friday, Saturday, or not.
Yeah, actually, I went just more interested to see, just kind of looking at what team schemes are now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my quest, my job now from once we get through the deadline.
The quest
is just start watching other teams that, if by chance we can make it to the national tournament again, other teams that potentially could get there, and just kind of starting this last weekend, start to track who does what, who has what their lines are, what their strengths, weaknesses, all of that is, and that's fun. I love that part of it.
We got also, Seattle over in the Western States.
Sellers.
Big time. I mean, they ended up getting rid of, their number one scorer, leading scorer, Novak. They got rid of Hetchkis. I'm going to pronounce this kid's name, Pleskavas, to Southern. And, okay, so Southern was actually they were kind of after them anyway. I'll tell you what really shocked me was Tyler Thompson going to New Mexico Renegades.
Yeah.
And not because I'm shocked that, I'm shocked because of the concussions he's suffered and, trading the rates or selling the rights to New Mexico to make room. And then they pick up 3 kids from the 16U team?
Yeah.
Ian Parker, David Min, Steve O'Mather. Do you know these guys?
Yeah, I do.
How'd they do?
I mean, they're just their kids to plug the hole.
Okay.
And, and Murph's obviously hoping that if those kids don't play Tier 2 next year, that they feel warm and fuzzy where they're at. It's a good move on his part. It really is. He's the guy's been a friend for a lot of years, and he was in a situation that he hadn't been in before. Murphy's not used to being a seller. And so he had to, I know he put a lot of thought into what he was doing and talked to a lot of people, and I think it was a good move for him. The Tyler Thompson thing, that has more questions than answers. I really like Tyler. He's a good kid. I'm going to reserve comment, on the public forum on that one. We'll just see what happens. And then if Tyler goes down there and plays and has a good time and plays it out, more power to him.
Yeah, I've always liked Tyler. We've all known him for a long time. And when I heard that he was going down there, honestly, the first response was, I hope mentally and physically, it's a good move with all the concussions that the kids had, and more for his benefit. Health-wise than anything else. But you're right. Seattle has not been in a position of selling for a long time. Yeah. And
never in junior hockey. Never in their junior hockey history have they been in that position. But, and getting back a little on course on the, buying and selling and who's doing what. Obviously, the biggest buyers out there were Southern Oregon, and they were willing to buy anything. And more power to them. They spent heartily, and they're going to obviously trying to buy something. And if that's the way that they feel going about it, hey, knock yourselves out. Sometimes when you run around and all you do is buy teams' best players, all you've done is bought yourself a lot of headaches. But sometimes it works out the other way. Our situation, what we were setting out, we had two specific types of players that we were looking for, and that was it. And honestly, we filled one and not the other. It was tough sledding out there, And back to the 92 thing, 92s were a really low number forever in USA hockey. 92s have been a shy number. If you look at how the graph went, it dove off 90, 91s, 92s, really does a nice bounce back with the 93s. And forever and a day, the 93s people have always looked at the 93s, 94s as having overall a little better skill set than the 92s did.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows why? And maybe it's all askew, but that's just always been the view out there. But really not a lot of 92s to choose from. And then, when you look at the fact that I think, even Minnesota League, EJ, all of them, not a lot of 92s on the teams with the exception of Jersey and the EJ, who are always just chock full of. They'll have anywhere from 19 to 23, 24, 20-year-olds on their team.
Wow.
At any given time. It's the way they roll, and that's their task at hand, and that's what Toby's chosen to do out there. And he's had a ton of success, so I'm not going to argue with what he does.
You guys actually found a 92 defenseman, didn't you? Is it Dylan Rashawn?
Yeah, Rashawn.
How's he?
And, that's a high-skilled kid right there. Just really can play wherever you want him to play. I mean, we've actually played him some at forward, some at D. We were fortunate to come up with Mershon, who came from Duluth, who folded, unfortunately for them. A couple other players came through from Duluth. We kept another one, Los. Still waiting to see where he fits in. Mark Williams, who passed through, and we sent him to Glacier. We also, John Sarek, real good young kid. Honestly, the deal with Teseric is Teseric was just, we offered him, told him, well, you can go wherever you want to go. You tell us where you want to go, and we'll put you there. And what he's actually doing right now is he's in Helena playing games with Glacier, is what he's doing. That's what he's chosen to do, is practice with us, play games with them.
So are you guys looking to pick up back on the blue line, more of a defensive core?
ideally,
because we've talked about that. You felt all season long.
That number one D,
yeah,
is the key.
Yeah.
And well,
go ahead. Say
we like our decor, but if that stud came walking in, that just makes everything that much easier.
What about goaltending?
So,
Salinas is the kid started off shot out of a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
How's he doing now?
Oh, he's just freaking horrible. He's given up 2 in a couple of games lately, so we thought about trading him.
What was that? What are you blowing your nose?
That's me laughing. Jet's incredible. He's an incredible kid.
He is good.
Jet, we went through a deal with Jet where he was Des Moines was wanting to bring him up and kick his tires a little bit in the USHL, and we couldn't find a third goalie to come in and help us out. And, knowing that Jet wasn't going to go up there and play games, he's just going to go up there and get his feet wet with them. We've actually got it worked out now that everything's settled down, and we've looked at the schedule that Jet is going to go there for a week, next week actually, and spend the week in Des Moines. They're just trying to, see if there's a comfort level with him. Just a great kid. He's got all the attributes, and you and I have talked about him. I mean, you watch him play, and he does all the things you like. But he's a kid. He's carrying the bulk of the load. Lazarski's been great, but he's a little younger, needs a little more development. But Jet's 22-2 with 9 shutouts, a .958 save percentage. I know he's probably a little down on himself because his goals against is over 1 now, but that's
huge.
Things are getting tighter, things are getting tougher, and that's the way it should be.
Well, the game last night, we had talked between the second and the third, and at that point, the game was still kind of in doubt. I mean, there was still some question there, and Helena sort of I might be off here, but I kind of have Helena sort of like the Steelheads. It's deep, and if you can't run 60 with them, they're going to bury you, middle of the third and on, and that's exactly what you guys did to Missoula.
Well, and that's it. I mean, I think we scored. We were tied 2-2, and actually Missoula scored early in the third on a power play, and we should probably talk refs at this point, but I'll leave that for a few minutes later. But
Jarrod's he's happy now. He excused himself from the broadcast booth to go refill his cup. Yeah. Well,
so we're on an extended 5-on-3, and we're on the 3 side. They score. They do a good job, and Nord puts one in. But exactly what you said. I think around the 9:50 mark, 14-minute mark, and the 17-minute mark, bang, 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 we score.
Yep.
And it's just that nonstop pressure that you have to put on them, and it's the belief within the team that we are going to win, and that's I don't know. And it comes from Cunningham. It comes from our head coach that when we hit the ice, we are going to win, and that's just how we go about it. It's if the other team scores first, the other team scores the first couple of goals.
Yeah,
we still believe we're going to win.
Well, it's really it's a mental mindset, and if you believe that going into the game, remember we talked about the old Seattle Totems, how they they really won the game before they even came into the building.
Intimidation.
That was so much fun.
That was good times, man. Fun. Yeah, that was back when the circus came to town and everybody sort of just jumped on the bandwagon. But that's kind of the mentality. I mean, the mental mindset. Okay, we're down 1, we're down 2. We know we have enough talent to easily come back from this instead of going, uh-oh. Back in the day, the Jags were horrible with that. They would walk out of the locker room betting on how bad they were going to lose.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
And if you don't think that, we could detect a piss running down some of those kids' legs, and, I was in Seattle and we had those teams, you're out of your mind, and we keyed on that, and one thing about it, we guys like Boman, they earn their money with that group, with Quinny and
God, Carpy and all those guys.
But hey, you know what? It was a ton of fun, and there was some circus and some theatrics, and if things were going a little flat, and Murph had look down and kind of give me the nod or the wink, and that meant it was time for me to lose my mind and scream and yell and go cuckoo on like Boman, and the boys.
No,
they loved
come
it.
on, you wouldn't do
They loved
that.
it.
Never heard you.
You know?
Yeah, see,
yeah, I like that. I like a guy with a short memory. It works for me.
well, that's pretty much all of us, but you are the king of short-term memory loss.
You know, I will just jump in. I Quinn's over at Sherwood playing adult league now, and I saw him the other day. Him and I were just reflecting on back in the day. I loved those days. Those are my greatest days of NORPAC, of reffing, was back when those guys were around. I loved doing those.
If you could ref a game of a totem game and come out in one piece, it was good.
That's a lot.
That was success right there.
Or you didn't make a highlight reel. That was a plus too. That was a plus too.
But you know what? The thing is about those guys is they loved to play. They loved to play the game. They were kind of some of the last of the old school guys, and they still respected the game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they weren't. I'm watching these games, and I'm just going to take my shot here. I mean, I'm watching this Western States. These kids are tackling referees, taking them to the ground, slashing them, things like that, and I'm going, oh my God, I can't even believe it. Let alone the things that go uncalled. But that comes from up above in the league of how they want the game played. You know, unlike what other USA Hockey's mandating now with dangerous play, head contact, check from behind, and all that other stuff. And then you take it to the next step of what I guess it's climbing on the soapbox of what our owners and commissioner want out of our league. I mean, you look at the lack of fights. If you want fights, boy, we got the wrong league for you.
Yeah, you guys really are down there. Yeah, you guys don't fight much, do you? I mean, as a league, yeah.
No, as a league, it doesn't. I mean, as a team, we're a joke. God forbid if a fight broke out.
That'd be fun to watch.
We don't go there, but as far as you want to see skills, it's all there.
What was it? Dylan Webster that took the puck in the face and scored?
Well, yeah, I mean, he was just a kid standing in front of the net.
Well, I know, but it went off his face and went in the net and credited a power play goal. How was Dylan this morning?
Oh, he's awesome.
What was it? His nose?
Yeah,
he can take it.
He's a hockey player.
Took it right in the nose.
That's awesome. That was crazy. I was watching it, and the Missoula play-by-play guy, whoever that was, Webster goes down in a heap. And it's sort of like people are looking around, where'd the puck go? And it's in the net. It went in the net off his face. That was awesome.
Just a pool underneath his face.
I know. That was brutal. How McKinley Baum actually went out of the game. Do you have any idea how McKinley is?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. And
it looked painful, whatever it was, though, when he went down.
Yeah, I was talking with Baxter earlier, and I didn't bring that up. We're not going to.
Yeah, no.
You're a pretty bold guy to ask that question anyways, let alone you're never going to get a straight answer.
Well, Cody Jansen played well, though, coming in. He let 4 in, but I'm telling you, we talked about this before. I am really, really impressed with this kid. I really like this kid a lot.
You won't see him back in Tier 3.
Nah, that kid's gone. No, that kid's gone. What else is happening in your world with trades and exciting news and stuff like that?
Like I say, as far as trades go, it really, when you look at the season-ending deal, and I just kind of breezed through it earlier, it's Yellowstone added a couple of kids from Minnesota high school kids, and Yellowstone, they needed depth is all they needed. We did a trade with Yellowstone for one of their forwards because they thought they needed a D, and we were willing to part with the guy, and in the end it didn't work out, but they did a 3-way deal and moved him on. There just wasn't a lot of movement as far as that goes. I know in NORPAC, other than Eugene, not a lot. Minnesota League, not much there. I mean nationwide. once you got past Tier 2, the North American League, there really wasn't a lot of movement. You know, Western States, and seeing what they did, there was plenty there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of crafty what they did. They actually gave those guys one more day than the USA deadline, so that they could pick up any scraps that were left over. And that's, believe me, that's all that's left over is scraps. And but it's a smart thing, I guess. And the other thing I look at is really, and just in regards to teams and how I look at other teams is I keep an eye on, you know, who's putting kids on the curb. The kids that they had, did they trade them out? Are they going to play? What did they do with the kids, or did they leave them standing? And I think for the most part there weren't as many kids left out as I've seen in the past. So, and a lot of that has to do with all these Tier 3 guys playing with short rosters.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there seemed to be a place for everyone to play this year.
Well, Southern Oregon released Max Richter and brought in Austin Bryn. Sent Halesi to Salt Lake and Lovelace to West Sound. So Salt Lake picked up one. Lovelace went to West Sound, so West Sound picked up one. And Bryn going in, you know, to Southern. It's so close. I mean, the season's almost over, especially in Western states as far as the regular season goes. Me personally, I mean, you came this far with a team, and then to bring in new blood and try to roll them into your team concept. How hard is that to do from your coaching background and perspective?
It's not.
Okay.
It really isn't that hard. And you know, I mean, if you've got a month, if you can keep a kid for a month now, they may be behind. If they're not on a team that has a good training program or anything like that. That's what will kill them. If they can't keep up, if they are physically not ready to play the game, if say like with us, puck possession team, we want to skate, we want to go, we want to put pressure on all the time. If the team you came from doesn't have a program and to where you're actually 6 to 8 weeks behind, you will never get caught up, and then that's our mistake for picking you up. But as far as picking up the systems and all that, most of these kids are smart enough, and nothing's that intricate to where they can't pick it up. And so I think with a month of time you can get any of them to go, so long as, you know, again, they have to buy in.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of times, you know, you get these kids at the deadline who they may have been willing to stay right where they were at if they were on a team that was on the fringe or maybe not going to make the playoffs. A lot of kids maybe were more than happy to stay where they were at, and they get traded for whether it's cash or futures, or, you know, the coach just think they're doing the right thing. And so every once in a while you get an unhappy camper.
Well, the Seattle thing, that had to have been pretty much all cash because, I mean, Southern sent nobody to Seattle.
Well, they just picked up the local players, right?
No, what?
Seattle just picked up.
No, they didn't get anybody from Southern.
Right.
Yeah. Stay with me, man.
Did he just wake up?
He did. He's just Well, you know what? Here's the problem. His Chia Pet was having issues, so he had to go get water. Water the Chia Pet, put the chocolate chip cookies in the oven. He's a domestic goddess on Valentine's Day.
All right. Sidebar. They don't really have a Willie Chia Pet.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you find one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my girlfriend was looking for the Willie Chia Pet.
No, she's not
she
anymore.
Couldn't find one.
Okay, you know what? Here's my advice. Kick her to the curb and find a true woman that will go find a Willie Chia Pet for you. She's not worth it, AJ. It's Valentine's Day. Go find love.
Okay. So
don't ever bring her up again unless she's listening. Is she listening? She's not listening, is she? She's probably zacked out, just totally gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much Smartie smoking. Telling you, it's bad.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Well, you know, big Valentine's Day, you know, loving guy like me sitting around clipping tape from last night's game,
listening to us.
Yeah.
Hey, don't feel bad. I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, look, Jarrod's here in the studio.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day, we're in the studio on this. And here's the thing: this is my motto for Valentine's Day in broadcasting.
Yes,
it's broadcast, it's dedication before chocolate.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
That almost brings a tear to my
eye. I was just going to say that myself.
I'm going to sell that.
You need the Jack Handy music playing while you're doing.
I could find that.
Oh my God!
Let me find that.
Not
for you.
Jack Handy. So okay. So here, backing up to the thing. I think it was Special that said, "Why does the AW rarely play the same teams twice in a row?"
What?
I heard you guys talking about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's because there's not that much distance between the teams.
Well, that makes sense.
That way, every weekend you get a home date. Every weekend, your fans know my team is playing, and you get a good gate.
And that's true.
Important.
Yeah.
I mean, unlike you look at others' schedules this year who've gone 5 weeks without a game, let alone a home game, and then they get 3, 4, 5 3-game stands at home in a row. That doesn't work real well. I mean, that's really carving into the gate. 3-game stands never work. Never work. If you get a 2-game stand, you might get them for 2 nights in a row, but if you get a 3-game stand, people are going to pick 1 game to go to.
Yeah.
That's simple marketing. But that's just part of the deal. But so I've got Boman questions.
Okay, go. Yeah, make it quick because Special's fading.
Hey, I don't need enough time. I get another 2 hours. You kidding me?
No. You know what? Here's the great thing about us being us and you being you.
You just click it off.
So
you are quick.
You're clicked off right there, my friend. There you go. You're back on.
Okay.
Nope, just kidding.
He's off.
We have control. No, go ahead and have let's have a teaching
while
moment.
We've got him under oath.
Yeah, there you go.
Under oath on the stand. First off, let me put this out there.
Okay.
In junior hockey, at the end of the regular season, every team, depending on your league, you're either allowed to pick 1 or 2 refs that you will not have in playoffs. Okay, that's just, let me just put that out there. The guy you've got in there has never been picked by any league that I know of. That's pretty good. That means that he's a fair cat. Okay, so
putting that in perspective.
Now that the stroking's done,
I was going to say, let me just move away from that.
That sounds bad.
That does sound bad. Remember, this is radio; it's not video, so it's theater of the mind.
I feel like I should say thank you, but
I won't.
But you need a shower after that?
Got to change the saran wrap.
So you guys hit on one good thing earlier. The
That's it?
Call. Well, no, many,
okay,
but it really triggered a lot of questions.
Okay.
And I thought it was really good, that you brought up the thing on the makeup calls and just asked him point blank, and I love the answer. Because I actually do believe you that I don't see you as the guy that does it, but it does happen. What's your view on reffing the score? What do you think of that?
The only time, me personally, the only time that I ever change my standard, my personality, my mindset as far as the game goes, is when, and believe me, we go back to talking about Totems games back in the day. Had a few of these then. I mean, when the game has reached a point where it's over. Like there's. I mean, you don't want to. I would never say that out loud. But if you were talking like a 7-1 game, right?
Yeah.
With the third period halfway through. I mean, you're looking at kind of a game that's over. And if that being the case, in my opinion, I make that what I call a safety game.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. I'm not there upholding a specific standard. I'm just making it safe.
Yeah.
If that means calling every single thing at every single stoppage, who cares? The game's over. You know, like at that point, I'm not trying to set a standard. I'm not trying to have my point be made. Like it's out of my control. Like I'm just there to make sure, you know, as many game misconducts are avoided.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm asking these questions because these are questions that people ask. Mm-hmm. I think I'm pretty comfortable that I know, but I just thought, you know, the people listening, moms, dads, and all that, these are questions, the kind of things that, you know, you'll see them walk out of a building with a sour look on their face, complaining about this and that. What is, and I've sat through, you know, a few 3s and 4s, just exactly what you said earlier about, you know, getting involved and learning the rules. You know, lucky enough to where Stevens has let me sit in on some, and because I wanted to know from the referee's perspective how they looked at the game, and I mean just a ton of valuable information for me, mm-hmm. and gained it just can't even tell you how much more respect I had after the first couple I ever went to. But can you explain? This is always kind of this is one that was actually thrown at me the other day. Can you explain the view that's put to referees on paid gate games? I mean, I don't really know how to ask that.
Like as far as the crowd, like dealing with people in the crowd.
As far as entertainment value games, I should say, versus like a Bantam game or something like that. Do you guys look at that any different?
I actually, that's weird that you asked that because I just 10 minutes ago made a clip of a game in Bellingham where a goalie got hit and there was a gentleman in the stands, kind of like you guys have had in Vancouver, but it's to the extreme. He's not just yelling, you know, the stereotypical "you're not any good referee." He was yelling it with some nice expletives.
Yeah, we watched that last week too, I believe, right?
Did I show that to you then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, and there's another game that same thing, and you know it that's definitely a very, very fine line, because if you're paying to be there as a referee, as far as I'm concerned, I've got to take it, unless you are not having a direct impact on my job. Then yeah, I'm just got to take it. I mean, anybody can yell. You know, I mean, if it's become an issue, like if guys are throwing things on the ice, or like I said, if it's taking over your ability to do the job, it's not like a 7 a.m, you know, Bantam game where you can just point to the guy and say, "Hey, bud, you know, there's the door.
Go get more coffee."
Yeah.
You
know, and that kind of thing, and you know, embarrass the guy as he's walking by all the parents, and that kind. I mean, you can't do that. You know, certainly when you're talking about an arena with thousands of people in the stands, you can't just single somebody out and say, "Hey, I don't care that this guy's paid; he's gone." I mean, you've got to have a very legitimate reason for it. So it's definitely a fine line that you've got to walk. But as far as I'm concerned, like, I mean, it's, you know, there's plenty of people that push that line. But you definitely have avenues. Like as a referee, you should know, you know, how to deal with that. You should know who to talk to. There should be somebody that you can say, "Hey, you know, somebody keep an eye on this guy, and if it gets any worse, then we need to deal with that. But you need to deal with that from your end, not my end. I'm not going to stop the game and point him out."
Secure.
Yeah,
security.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So and
that's the communication, which is always. As I've gotten older and you know, believe it or not, mellowed out a ton, you know, that's a thing that I just hinge on more and more. And I'll just tell you, I mean, you've always, the refs from the west side, I always thought that you and there's a few others that have been really good about communicating, and not just with the benches. I mean, I always appreciate any ref who, first off, will communicate with the benches, so long as, you know, A, coach isn't standing in the door, B, arms aren't waving, which is one I always had to learn was put your hands down and lower your voice. You know, once I learned to do that, I suddenly was able to talk to people. But you and others that will communicate with the players, you know, when the player gives you that look of, what? You know, not just, you know, is it raining in here with the arms up, but the legitimate look of, I don't get what I did, and you guys will take the 10 seconds on the way to the box, or maybe longer, to try and explain it to them. That's in developmental hockey, which I think we're all involved in, it's such a valuable tool when they hear from somebody else, and then I think it gains a lot of respect for the players towards the officials.
Well, and even taking those moments, and if it's not the right time, to explain it, because first of all, my thing is if you're going to put on a jersey with stripes on it and hold other people accountable, you need to hold yourself accountable as well. First off, and second of all, if you can't explain a penalty that you're calling, you probably shouldn't call it. So if you can't explain it, you need to be able to explain it, and there's an explanation that's there. It's just whether or not it's going to be well received at that time, But there's definitely other times. That's a tough one too for guys to get. Is that being able to judge? Maybe this isn't the right time to explain it. And being able to articulate well enough, saying, listen, hey, there's a minute and a half left in this period. Can we just wait a minute and a half? Just relax. And then I'll tell you then. And usually that conversation, a minute and a half or 5 minutes later, is way different than if it was then right in the emotion of that penalty or whatever. I mean, it's you've definitely changed some things if you can take that avenue. Like that's a big one for guys to be able to step back and recognize when is the best time to explain yourself.
There's no doubt. I mean, I just think that's the most valuable tool that is in everybody's box that's involved with anything on the ice. Is that right there?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's plenty of times too where you know it's not a good time, and even I mean, I've put my hand up so many times where I just know that the coach is just gonna go bananas, and there's no way that I'm gonna go over there to explain it to him. Because he's already standing on the steps, like hands up, already yelling at me before I've even signaled anything. He doesn't even know what the on-ice strength is going to be, but he's already yelling. That's probably not a good time to explain myself. And if you can get out of doing it, then sometimes it's a good thing to do. Sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes
is that what I've seen many times where say official makes a call and refuses to go to the bench to explain to the coach. I've seen it a couple times. You know what? In different locations.
There's been a few times where I've done that, where I've just and even coaches are holding their teams. They're saying, "Hey, hang on, guys, stay here for a second. Bowman, get over here." And it's no, it's not going to be the answer that you want to hear. And I know usually it's because some of the guys that you end up doing that too. You know them well enough that when the times are good and when the times are bad, and usually it's
pick your battles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like I said, sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you just can't avoid it. Like you have to go talk to coaches. There's a lot of times where, I mean, I have, I've had something go on, and you just want to turn around and tell both captains that are standing there, eager to find out what's going on. And you're just like, hey, this is what I've got, and go tell your coaches. Where you just want to do that, but you're like, oh, hey, never mind, guys. I'm just gonna go straight to the coach.
Yeah.
So
that's got to be a tough. Call. Anything else, AJ? Before we wrap this puppy up?
No.
You are a stud, man.
No, I really wanted to put him on the stand, but no, I won't. I'm just kidding.
You know what though? We're gonna.
You got more? You got more?
Oh, he wants more.
I'm glad you had him in there.
He wants more.
He wants more.
Yeah.
He wants more. No,
apparently
he just elaborating real quick on what he was just talking about.
Yeah.
Was actually in a game 2-3 weeks ago, and we're going to the 4-man system for the rest of the season in the ADEB in the playoffs, and actually it was the first weekend out, and two guys were working the game, and then one I'm not overly familiar with, and the other one's a younger guy who, honestly, I'm really pulling hard for this kid. I've seen this kid from square one, and got a ways to go, but he tries. He's trying hard. And there was a situation that came up. He made a call, and actually his partner made the call. But media stoppage comes, and so I just lean over, and granted, quietly, not excited or anything like that. I just wanted an explanation. And both those guys blew me off. And I thought, are you kidding me? I just lost a ton of respect for you. But the next night, he's part of the system. He's actually lining the next night. And he comes over pregame during warm-ups and talks to me, apologizes to me. And he basically said what Jarrod just said. He goes, I didn't want to come over there. I thought that maybe you were going to unload. And so basically, he had the wrong read on where I was at.
Uh-huh.
And, and I was going, I'm thinking, what has happened to mine and this kid's relationship that I thought was pretty good. But it was a safety maneuver for him. And hey, it would have been a safety maneuver for me if I was going to go goofy on him, because it would have kept me in the game by him not coming over.
Well, and that's all part of this developing process, is having those things happen where you're kind of halfway there, and it's just a little bit of a tweak, like you're still getting the feel of dealing with adults. I mean, that's a tough one too. I started later, so I was still kind of an adult. I mean, I'm still getting this whole adult thing down, but I wasn't a young pup, and it's that those guys have it a lot harder, and it's harder for me to relate to those guys sometimes. The guys that start young and still have a hard time going from teenager, or young tween to communicating with an adult, and not only doing that, but being able to read them and communicate effectively. I mean, there's a lot of times that we all forget that is usually the case. Especially like you get leagues like the North American League where they have that development program, and some of those guys are 17, 18, 19 years old, and you forget that they're still they really are kids. And you can't expect them to communicate as effectively as some guy that comes in there as 25, 30 years old and has been doing it for 10 years already. It's kind of unfair sometimes where they're just their communication experience is different. But yeah, I mean, I feel for you, because there's been a lot of times too where even linesing, where some guys where I would almost want to tell him as a linesman, hey dude, you're fine. Go talk to him. It's fine. I think you'll be okay.
Watch his back.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, is NORPAC, are they going to do? I know that there's been times when they've done it before. When I was involved with the league, are they going to the 4 ref deal for the rest of the run as well, or sticking with 3? Do you know?
Yeah, I think we're just sticking with 3. We might end up doing a 4 for the finals. We did that last year.
Do you like the 4, AJ?
What's your view? Yeah. Well, do I like the 4?
Yeah. Do you like the 4?
I do, and it's funny because I like the 4 with our teams. I like the 4 because we are generally, up until the last 2 weekends, we hardly took penalties. The last 2 weekends, for whatever reason, we're a mess. But I do like it. It should help us the way that we play. Jarrod, do you like the 4 in Tier 3? Do you see the value there, or is the value mainly in developing the officials, or what do you think?
Yeah, see, I'm good if you just want to, because it's a tough choice too. If you say, just for the finals or just for the playoffs, we're going to do 4-man, because now you've taken a system and basically thrown it out the window, and you're expecting guys to all of a sudden be able to, A, work a different system, and B, be able to not only relinquish a lot of the sight lines that they're used to trying to work hard to get, saying here's another guy. So you not only have to be able to communicate with 20 players or 40 players, 2 coaches. Now you've got another referee to work with as well. So it's a tough one. I personally, at this level, I think there's very few times where a 4-man can be very effective.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly wouldn't say no. I mean, if we could afford it, why not? But yeah, I mean, there's only a few times really during the regular season that I've just watching video, and you're like, God, it sure would be nice to have a referee standing right there. This wouldn't happen, or this wouldn't happen. I mean, this could, so that for that reason, yes, but
yeah.
But like I said, that's a tough call. That it's hard to. It's hard to be able to also, even just mindset wise, now you're jumping up in intensity, and you also have to do a system that you're not used to working. So as a referee, there's a lot of tweaks that you already have to do there But it's hard because everyone, well, 4-man, it's great. Less skating, and now you've got 2 guys calling penalties, and you've got both angles covered. But you also have 2 guys that completely they're not used to that at all.
Well, yeah, and that, a couple of things. It's funny because I've never seen more refs get hit by pucks and get hit in the way of players. I think at times I don't know. It's been really different the last couple of weeks from when I've seen it before. Maybe I just haven't noticed it before. But how tough is it for you guys, because of different characteristics and different views on how guys call games? Obviously there's going to be certain guys you're really at ease working with. What's it like to work with somebody who you're not familiar with, say you've never called a game with before?
Well, if you're talking a 4-man system, that is going to be the hardest one right there. That's absolutely the nail on the head. Is when you get somebody who's very experienced and very comfortable wearing an orange on their jersey to somebody who's newer at it, and you add that 4-man system. So there's going to be a little bit of hesitation. There might even be some jumpiness to try to overcall or I guess even undercall sometimes, thinking that, well, my partner's right there. The guy's right there. Why would I call that? And
I don't want to show him up or whatever.
Yeah,
and that's normal. That's normal personality stuff. And that's why I'm asking. It's got to be tough.
Well, and that's where if you could do it more during a season, you would alleviate all of that, or at least minimize it. To where it's not as big of a deal. You'd have you'd have guys already used to the system, guys already used to knowing where am I supposed to look in a 4-man. That's a big one too, that a lot of guys, when you're not used to working that system, and all of a sudden you throw them into a 4-man, and you say, well, okay, so I'm used to when I do a 3-man and we have puck down low, this is where I'm looking.
Yeah.
So when I'm still, do I still look there? As a high guy, where do I look? Do I look where the puck's at, or do I look at the net? Or, there's a lot of things that you still have. If you don't have 2 guys that are experienced enough to be able to hash that out in the locker room right before, those are issues that you're going to have to deal with eventually on the ice, and hopefully it's not after you've just lost something or you've just missed something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's what we had talked about also earlier, is about your sight line, your vision. Where do you look? And again, having a second ref, having the 4-man system, it would be confusing. So
well, to the average fan, they're thinking that, hey, there's 2 refs out there, so we're not going to miss anything at this point.
Well, you still have. How many games have we all watched on TV that they have a 4-man there?
Yeah.
And you still miss things.
7 nights
it happens,
a week, right?
So, it happens so fast. It's just and we're human. Unfortunately, as a referee, you get that split second or the 1 second to look at it, judge it, evaluate it, and then decide penalty or no penalty. But of course, when everybody else is looking at it, they're looking at it in frame by frame by frame by frame. How can you miss that?
It's a whole different thing when, real time versus, slow time.
Mm-hmm.
When you have to call it simply in now time, we could dissect anything looking at tape and make you right or make you wrong.
Well, and that's
what
where,
counts is what you call at the time.
Yeah.
Well,
they say a lot of the better referees were the dirtier players. It's there. Believe me, there is a lot of truth to that, because you coming back to your playing experience, coming back to what your gut is a little bit different from a guy who's probably done that penalty, as opposed to a guy that wouldn't even be looking for it.
Let's bring Eric English into the officiating.
Well, I love Eric. Eric's a good dude, but you still would have to be able to read the rule book.
Have to read the rule book or read the rule book.
You guys.
Buddy.
Eric's going to punch me in the face.
We're working on the longest one ever, Buckley. I think you're only going to be up till 7 or 8 in the morning
Yeah, I'm going to see the sun. I'll see the sun come up. Yeah, thank you very much.
Nice. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is the Josh and Jarrod show. You guys feel free to sleep all you want.
Well, Special's, he's been sleeping anyway.
It seems like it's never our show when we got someone from Helena on here.
Special has been sleeping. Yeah,
that's the way we roll.
Between you and Butters, man, you guys could come over here and do our job. Hey, we appreciate you calling, man. We always appreciate your input, and you just bring a whole new sense of stupidity to the show. We really appreciate it.
I'm glad you had Jarrod on. I really am. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
Like I say, the questions I was asking and things I wanted to throw out and talk to him about were just generic things that people listening to this hopefully would appreciate. And
well, that's again, you can think of things that we don't because you come from a different arena, and so your input.
No, he's serious. We really appreciate it.
Do you need your inhaler?
Yeah,
you
that
okay?
one made me laugh as soon as you said that.
You might want to up the oxygen content in the tent that you got. Now you're
3 more Marvs and another Pepsi. I'm good to go.
There you go, brother. Hey, we appreciate the phone call, man. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again real soon.
All right, thanks, guys. Great show.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, take care. All right, bye.
AJ, guy's awesome, man.
Johnny Tulane.
Yeah, you got the name right too. Again, just a different perspective. Coming from a coaching standpoint, always good to have on. We're going to wrap this puppy up, Jarrod. Man, it was awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Dude, we really appreciate you coming in, and we're anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime you want.
We'll definitely have to do it again.
Definitely do that. So that's going to pretty much, I think, kind of wrap it up here for the Red Light District Junior Hockey Talk Show. Unless Special Greg has anything left to add.
Real quick, go ahead and
promote
your Facebook page.
Yeah, Facebook page is the only thing that's open right now. It's Focus Officiating. So if you log on to Facebook, if you have your account there, just do a search for Focus Officiating and go on there, like it, and everything else will be updated as soon as possible. The website will be focusofficiating.com. And hopefully within the next week it should be completed, barring I don't get too picky. I'm super picky with all this stuff. I keep annoying the guy.
You might want to let go of some of that. Coming from a guy that's up until...
It sounds so familiar. I'm telling you right now. I deal with it all the time. This just doesn't sound perfect. It's not right. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, sometimes you get it up there and then you can make some tweaks and get those updates later.
Always another time.
Yeah.
There's always something else you can fix. Once again, the Focus Officiating Camp, August 16, 17, 18, here in Portland, Oregon. Boy, it's going to be a blast. We may have to stop by.
Yeah.
Come
boys.
by. Yeah, the boys. Absolutely. Come by and take a look. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for another edition of, the Red Light District Junior Hockey Talk Show live every